Good morning. This is Rick Gleason and Don King coming to you from the heartbeat of worker health and safety at the University of Washington. And today we get to talk about maritime safety. That's an industry we haven't really looked at a lot in the past, and the workers' comp in maritime, which is a little bit different than the regular workers' comp. We've got two special guests today. John von Lossow is the workers' comp manager at Vigor shipyards in Seattle, and Chris Homeier is the safety manager at Vigor shipyard. So we're going to be able to talk to them both today and learn a little bit more about maritime safety and workers' comp. So thank you both for coming today.
Thanks for having us. Yeah, thanks, Rick. Appreciate it.
John, if you could start off, tell us a little bit about your role and how workers' comp differs a little in the shipyard, and then we'll have Chris answer some questions as well.
Sure. So, as the workers' compensation manager here, I'm responsible for all Vigor entities throughout Alaska, Washington, and Oregon, and we do differ in our workers' compensation coverage from what most companies have to go through for their coverage. We are governed by a federal program, U.S. Longshore and Harbor Workers Act, for workers' compensation for the majority of our craft workers. So it's a little different than a state L&I system, but not radically different. But it is very worker friendly, or employee friendly, and it's very lucrative, if you will, with the worker receiving pretty high benefits under the Act. And so preventing injuries is always key because it's an expensive system for our workers to get out of in some situations. My role is to work with all parties, both at Vigor and our third-party administrator, legal, and every entity that touches a workers' compensation claim. And since I've been here, we have put an extra emphasis on our return to work protocols and our light duty opportunities to limit time loss benefits, and we've done a really good job in that arena. There's always more work to be done. I've been in this industry 32, 33 years now, and most injuries are preventable, and I've also had a role in safety in my past, and so I work with Chris and others here at Vigor to ramp up our prevention and our safety practices as well. So it's a dual role that I have, which is it's exciting, and we're making some good progress.
Wow, that is great, John. I appreciate that information, and I think we all agree that the best way to deal with the workers' comp claim is not have the injury to begin with through a good, effective, continuing safety program. And so that brings us to Chris. So, Chris, tell us about your role there at the shipyard.
Well, my role as the safety manager is to help facilitate safety training. We're involved with orientation, getting new folks into the yard, making sure they understand the specific hazards that we have in the shipyard versus other industries. Also helping, one of our focuses is on cultural behaviors here and towards safety, and how do we really turn the corner and get folks to really focus on making good decisions.
Got it. And Chris, have you integrated any kind of like the 10-hour shipyard safety for some of your workers? I know you're an OSHA authorized outreach program trainer in maritime safety and health. Have you done any classes down there? I know they're not required, or are they? Maybe that's the question.
Yes, we have been doing some classes as of lately, and we're actually going to be taking on a project for the Navy, and under the standard items for the Navy, that is a requirement. So I'm actually going to be doing some classes here.
Oh, that's great. And I'm also want to put a plug in for you. You're one of our instructors at the University of Washington Region 10 OSHA Training Center that helps us out in the maritime safety, OSHA 5400 and 5410, the safety classes for shipyards and marine terminals and longshore. So we certainly appreciate all your help in that, and you've been a great asset to us. So thank you for your role at Vigor as well as your role helping us at the training center as well.
Hi, Don King here. John and Chris, are you self-insured?
Our workers, it is not self-insured. We are in a insured mutual program with a company that manages and insures shipyards all over the country. So we're in a pool, if you will. So we don't self-pay all of our claims.
Okay. So, and also, do you have stevedores in your operation?
No, we do not.
Okay.
So it's we don't have any Jones Act employees either. It's strictly longshore workers.
Okay.
Got it. Appreciate that. In fact, that's one of the things in a future podcast where we'll be looking at certain groups that aren't covered under the normal workers' comp, like Federal Railroad workers and the Jones Act workers on the high seas. So it's a far different workers' comp in that industry, as it were. So, hey, can you tell us a little bit about how long Vigor has been operating the shipyard? And I know before that, for many years, it was Todd Shipyard. But how has that worked, and how has the safety maybe changed over the years?
I think that Vigor's been here at Harbor Island for 5 years. It was purchased from Todd Shipyard. Todd Shipyard, I believe, was originally around the turn of the century. They built a lot of vessels during the World Wars, and a lot of the Washington State ferries that run our ferry system are also built and serviced here as well. Some of the changes with Vigor coming in has just been updating some of the equipment, some of the processes, and kind of just taking a little bit different of an angle towards ship repair and new construction.
Okay, very good. So, Chris, what would you say is one of the leading type of injuries that you experience out there in the last 3 years that you're trying to get down to a finite detail?
I think, strains and sprains, bumps and bruises, those are probably, I don't know, John may have a percentage number, but a very large percentage of what we deal with. Walking surfaces is always a big one. As we're building or doing repair on vessels, the surfaces we walk on are always changing. And also, something that really needs to be pointed out is the age of our workforce. A lot of these folks are getting a little up in age. A lot of the craft workers, it's not as flush with workers as it has been in the past. So that definitely can contribute to some of those injuries as well.
I think I'll add to that. Strains and sprains are the most costly injuries that we have in Vigor. They're probably 70% of the cost of all of our injuries, and they're driven from either slip, trip, and fall events or situational awareness. And like Chris mentioned, we have a lot of angled surfaces, gangways, and we're out in the weather, so there's a lot of opportunity for people to slip or trip, and that's been a real focus for us because we believe that number can come down significantly, so we're putting a lot of effort around that.
Do you folks have a stretch and flex program where you stretch and flex every morning?
Yes, we do. It's being tried in various yards for about the last year, and from my perspective, I think they're valuable, but we have not really fully evaluated the pros and cons of it, or whether we would ramp it up or maybe look at a different type of program. I don't know if Chris has any input on that.
Yeah, like John said, we've been testing it out in a couple different locations and, trying to figure out what works best. We have a lot of our work, it ebbs and flows. So getting a consistent time with the right people leading it is definitely one of the challenges we have with the way our work comes and goes.
Okay, in construction, we've had really, really significant success with stretch and flex from strains and back injuries. And I think it's always the challenge to get people involved in this and want to do it. And what we did in one of our cases was we would give out a very nice hunting knife for the guy who led the stretch and flex for a week. And you'd be amazed how many guys signed up to lead it after they got that little gift. It was a very nice, well done knife.
Hey, I like it. I like it. Well, I really appreciate having both of you guys here. Again, we've been speaking with John von Lossow, the workers' comp manager at Vigor Shipyard, and Chris Homeier, the safety manager at Vigor Shipyard. And as we wrap up our podcast today, any conclusions that you've seen in the industries over the years, changes you've seen, great things that have happening, where we're heading to the future? Maybe John, you first, and then Chris.
Okay. That's a good question, Rick. And I would say one thing that I've seen through all my years with various companies is a greater commitment at all levels within the company, from top down, bottom up, to come together, look at what their challenges are around injuries and their workplace and hazards and hazard identification, and getting an open dialogue going and then fixing the problems that are identified. I think that has become a much more prevalent thing in various industries, and we're certainly doing that here at Vigor so that we can, as you said, prevent people from being hurt, because that's one of our values is to send everybody home every day without being injured. So I think that's one thing that's significant in the industry of safety and workers' comp.
Perfect. Chris, how about yourself?
Yeah, one thing that's kind of go off what John was talking about is I think the whole approach towards safety is really changing, and I really noticed it here in the shipyard, where scars and, cuts and bruises were almost a badge of honor, where we've really kind of taken it back and looking at, people make choices, and those choices can really affect, the things that we choose to do on our off time, and the impact of it is so big, and I think we've taken a much more newer approach towards safety, and I'm really excited to look for how some of these changes as they roll out will, benefit the workers and also our claims numbers and all of those things. I think it's a good thing to kind of take a fresh look at it, a little bit more of a modern approach, so to speak.
Boy, Chris and Don, thank you so much. And this has been Rick Gleason and Don King coming to you from the heartbeat of worker health and safety on campus at the University of Washington. We're also the Region 10 OSHA Training Center for Washington, Alaska, Oregon, and Idaho. And if you ever want to drop us a line, we are at online. Our email is CE, as in continuing education, CE@uw.edu. And Don, any last thoughts or comments for us?
Well, I think after talking to these two gentlemen, I think a saying by James DeWar is, minds are like parachutes. They only function when they are open. I think kind of says it all. And so to all of you out there, stay safe, take care of your families, and aloha.
I was young and feisty, never did things by the book. Just let me get my toolbox and I'll take myself a look. I climbed up on the dozer with my mechanic's pride. Said, you can keep it running, friend, while I poke around inside. Shake hands with danger, meet a guy you ought to know. I used to laugh at safety, now they call me three-faced lesson, I forgot it soon enough. The nicks and burns and scratches showed the young ones I was tough. Till another morning, I was grinding on some steel. My other hand got careless and fed my skin into the wheel. Shake hands with danger, step right up and say hello. Grinding wheels and metal are what made me Three-Finger Joe. I've seen mechanics burning, and I've seen them take a fall just to save themselves a minute, and I've seen them lose it all. I've watched them courting trouble, seen them take a chance and lose. They get careless for a moment, spend a lifetime with the blues. Shake hands with danger. Shake hands with danger. Shake hands with danger. Shake hands with danger. Shake hands with danger and some friends I used to know. Compared to them, I'm lucky to be just Three-Finger Joe.